All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. We'll start it, and we'll pause it. Make sure the audio's off. Yes, it is, indeed. We've got to talk about the Shroud of Turin. RFK Jr., he withdrew from Arizona. That's probably a foreshock of what's to come. We've got waving goodbye to the neoliberal Democratic Party. Hillary Clinton's DNC speech marked the end of the centrist consensus of the Clinton-Obama years. I happen to agree with this. They're trying to overhaul the party at the moment. We've got a 2,492 carat diamond that was found in Botswana. The value of it, I don't even think that it's listed here, actually. Biggest diamond found since 1905, actually. I'm sure that that's going to be. And by the way, you're going to hear some mowing sounds out front. My apologies for that. Postcard sent over a century ago, finally delivered to building in Wales. Yes, 121 years ago, somebody tried to send a postcard. Didn't really work, and now it's actually been delivered. And we've got some Vermont news here. A couple people tipping me off to this. There's a backstory, by the way, with regards to this particular lynx. It might very well be the exact same animal that was seen by my girlfriend, actually, years ago. It's, within the lifespan, so we'll be talking about that too. Lord of the Rings, Sticks, what's the best way to find stories to talk about? I want to start streaming every Saturday talking about funny news stories from around the world. I'm calling it the Weekly White Pill. Clank. Use RCP as a news aggregator. You can go through there. And also Ground News. There's also science news, physics news, and a bunch of others, basically. Use an aggregator, at least one of them. Culture Abductions. Always heard Tim Pool talk about you and looked you up, and over the past month, I've become a fan. Love the simple work you do. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Orchid Finance. My liberal brother told me they're increasing Trump's betting odds to make it seem that Kamala is the actual underdog in the election, so she'll win in November. I called him an idiot. What are your thoughts on my brother's theory? Unlikely. The problem is that you would have to manipulate every betting market in order to do so. I think that you are correct on that. The Witch Queen of Angmar. Have you ever heard about Russia trying to incentivize people who are tired of left-wing values to immigrate to their country? Yes, I have actually seen that. I think they opened up a bunch of land in what is it? I can't remember the name of the province. The one on the Pacific side. Yakutsk, I think it was. No. It's Kamchatka, actually. That was the province. And they were trying to get, 200,000 people or something to move in. Joe, I'm pooping right now. Good to know. Have a good bowel movement. Now, let's get to the Shroud of Turin first, shall we? A team of Italian researchers have entered the debate over the Shroud of Turin, the linen cloth believed by some to have been Jesus Christ's burial shroud. In a study published in the journal Heritage, the authors conducted dating work on a sample from the shroud, coming to the conclusion that it may be a 2,000-year-old relic. Now, I'm going to give multiple reasons why this research should probably be discounted. Number one, and by the way, I do not mean this to be an attack on Christianity. Jesus is just all right with me. I have no problem with your belief system. Here's the problem. Problem number one, you've got pre-research that dated it to the medieval period. And so now you have some confusion as to the actual dating. But we're going to ignore that right now. Let's say that it's 2,000 years old. Let's say that it does date contemporarily to the period of Jesus Christ walking the earth. Does that necessitate that it's actually Jesus Christ's burial shroud? No, because there's literally no evidence of it. Point number three. Here's another problem. It looks a little bit too much like the Renaissance era depictions of Jesus for my liking. It is very unlikely that Jesus Christ would have had long hair and a beard and all of these other things. It's more likely that he would have had short cropped hair that would have been in style at the time, 2,000 years ago, et cetera, et cetera. And number four, of course, you have competing data with regards to the remnants on this particular shroud. And number 5, and this is probably the most important, would we not imagine that the Italian government, or the Vatican for that matter, would lean on the researchers to try to prove that the shroud was actually a genuine religious relic that was associated with Jesus Christ? The answer is probably yes. It would make sense. You get more tourism, quite literally. And that's those are the reasons why I tend to question this particular methodology that they're using. The findings challenge previous research supporting a medieval origin of the shroud, which is one of the most studied archaeological objects in the world. Yes, and this is the only study over the course of many, many, many dozens of studies that concluded that it was actually 2,000 years old. While some studies have come to the conclusion that the artifact might be genuine, the scientific consensus leans towards the shroud being a medieval artifact and a forgery. I do not believe in the forgery theory. I believe it's a genuine burial shroud. That being said, whether or not it's 2,000 years old or 1,000 years old is completely irrelevant. We have absolutely no evidence that this was the shroud of Jesus Christ, and in fact, it would have been odd for such a shroud to have been implied under the circumstances of the time. It's much more likely that this was some Renaissance era noble, some medieval era noble, something like that. If it is ancient, it could have been literally anyone. Now, we have no reason to believe that it belonged to Jesus Christ. The shroud was denounced as a forgery by the Bishop of Troyes, Pierre d'Assis, in 1389, who allegedly identified the artist responsible. Nevertheless, the debate is ongoing, with uncertainties and alternative viewpoints persisting, hampering a definitive conclusion regarding its authenticity. They've generally given a date around 1290 to like 1400, somewhere in that general range, somewhere in the woods there. But the new study shows that it would be around 55 AD or thereabouts. I would point out that that is actually after Jesus supposedly died. That doesn't matter, though. There's no evidence of who was in the shroud. Doesn't matter what the date is. It literally is completely irrelevant and meaningless. And people are talking this up bigly for absolutely no reason. Again, I do not mean this to be a denigration of the Christian religion. I'm simply pointing out that the fact that a shroud came from, potentially, the same contemporary period or near to it does not necessitate that the image that you're seeing on there is actually Jesus's face. In fact, I would think that that would be metaphysically impossible based on the descriptions of Jesus and his life. Andrew Saberg, hey Sticks, I know you don't like sports ball, but I saw a funny article yesterday. Florida State and Georgia Tech are playing football in Ireland tomorrow. Oh, Bonnie Ireland, kiss the Blarney Stone, get me Lucky Charms. Florida State shipped tons of ranch, A1 sauce, and Tabasco over there. I wonder why. Simon Webster, armed federal protection for all food processing plants. Then you will know if they're complicit or stupid. Clank, clank from the UK. Redane, Stix Werner von Braun wrote a book about a Martian civilization in the 1940s. In it, their leader is called the Elon. What do you make of this? More memetics as usual. Nick Santini. Hey Stix, did you happen to listen to my instrumental yet? It's basically a rough sketch of the clankcore subgenre in metal. Let me know if I need to resend because Twitter has a 30-second cap on audio. Bump it back to the top. I don't believe that I saw it, no. Twitter has had some problems lately with DMs where you don't get notified or they just disappear randomly and shit like that. It's a big problem for content creators. This is Mike. Clank, motherfuckers, shell shock, battle fatigue, operational exhaustion, and post-traumatic stress disorder. The bit was called Euphemisms. Love, Carlin. I hope everyone's shit is good. P24T, Kamala's unrealized gains tax is a tax on inflation. 20% inflation, your asset is worth 20% more. Tax it. Yeah, I know, it'd be fucking crazy. Scott Steiner is there. Sleazy P. Martini last night said he showed us on Rumble the movie Liquid Sky. I was confused half the time. It felt like a movie made by you to rib about the 80s. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Go subscribe. Yes, everyone should subscribe to Sleazy P. Martini over on Rumble and wherever else you can find him. He got banned from YouTube for selling too much fucking crack. Again, a big problem. By the way, we've got big news. In the next couple of hours, we're expecting a statement by RFK Jr. The suspicion is that he's going to drop out of the presidential race. He may or may not endorse somebody. Presumptively, it is Donald Trump. RFK Jr. withdraws name from presidential ballot in Arizona. The action came amid rumors that Kennedy may drop out of the 24 presidential race to endorse Trump. And by the way, the other day, literally his running mate was like, well, we're considering it. Okay, you don't come out as the running mate of a campaign. This supposedly is a serious one. And say we're considering dropping out. That's a terrible look. So it's quite clear he is going to be dropping out. What remains to be seen is whether there's an endorsement. If RFK Jr. drops out and he doesn't endorse anyone and says, well, I wish the nation to have a good time. I hope that things go well for it. It's not going to move the metric at all. I think that RFK Jr. has taken as many votes from Trump as he has from Kamala. It's basically a 50-50. It may be a little bit more from Kamala than from Trump, but it wouldn't move the metric. But if he comes out and he makes an endorsement, I think that that's meaningful. I think then you get a 2/3 instead of a 50-50. That would put Trump basically over the edge in several states. RFK Jr. does have viability in the sense that he's actually got some traction. He's like at 3 to 10%, depending on the state. That if you therefore shift that total, that proportion towards one candidate or the other, you probably put him over the edge. I have a feeling that he'll endorse Trump. I have a feeling that he's been alienated by the Democratic Party. He's been alienated from much of his own family, actually, at this point. And the Trump campaign said, look, you can't win. It's impossible. There's no path forward to victory for you. That's self-evident. You know it. We know it. Everyone knows it. Just fucking endorse us and you'll get a cabinet position. I have a feeling that there was effectively bribery involved with this particular decision. I think that would be the most likely situation. The withdrawal came on the final day of the Democratic National Convention, where Democratic presidential nominee and Vice President Kamala Harris gave the keynote address amid rumors that Kennedy may drop out of the presidential race and endorse former President Trump, the Republican nominee. Yeah, they filed the paperwork. They've officially withdrawn from Arizona. Okay, if you can't make it in Arizona, you can't make it anywhere. RFK Jr. is at best a spoiler. And at worst, could shift things towards Kamala if he were to drop out and endorse her. My thought is that probably, though, the alienation factor is too much for that. So I strongly suspect that in a couple of hours, we're going to get an announcement from RFK Jr. Yeah, I'm leaving the race. I'm ending my candidacy. Clearly, there's no path forward. We didn't gain enough traction. And I'm endorsing Donald Trump. I do expect that to be what happens. Wasted Bonehead, good morning from the grave. Hello. Sigil Stone, shame about RFK. I was looking forward to punching the ticket for LibShit Party on the Brainworm platform. Yeah, the whole Brainworm story probably didn't help him. He's a little bit of a loose cannon. That being said, his endorsement would be material in nature. Should he give it? And I suspect that he will. Soapmaker 19. By the way, I've got a soap to talk about later. Pollens were found in the shroud from plants that were native to the 1st century Israel that were extinct after the 1st century. The OG carbon dating was done on part of the shroud that had been mended during the medieval period. Yes, some people claim that. Here's again the thing, though. You've got a shroud, let's say that it is 2,000 years old. It dates to the contemporary period. That's fine. Do you know who was actually in the shroud? No, you don't. That's the whole point. The Sumerian, clank, clank, my friend, clank to you as well. BW, Dr. Turley is quoting you on his show now. I am still trying to get him to come to you. I wish everyone wait until we get word RFK does it. I don't trust him. There's a good chance that he drops and endorses Trump. Again, his running mate came out, the one that had to do damage control for him over the abortion comments, poor chick, came out and openly spoke about that. That's not the sort of thing that you would do if you weren't intending at least to drop out. Pedos should be off, says Jill Stein echoed and retweeted Nicole Shanahan, JFK's VP, and said that the DNC was also attacking her campaign. Tweet still up, but a couple days ago. Clank. Yes, the Democrats may have made their bed and have to lay in it now as a result of their mistreatment of RFK Jr., which is hilarious. Jake Horvath, Sneed, and Andy 6, 2028, sorry. We need to down an earth farmer and a humble lumberjack who makes logs to turn this country around. Mikuhuntu, please send no more super chats. Peace out. No, at the moment, you can send more. I do have to do my sponsorship shout-outs, though, after I get through these. Wasted Bonehead Sticks, did you get that news tip about Sweden I sent you? It's a white pill, at least in my opinion. Yes, I did. Thank you very much for that. And Sigil, yes, the shroud is real and was used for Jesus. It's called having faith. That pie over there, would the RFK endorsement make New York more lean blue? Possibly. It would be more material in the states that are actually competitive. New York is not one of them. Let's get to our sponsors, should we? We've got stickslikesmetals.com. Yes, I am partnered with Goldco. You can go there to get your free gold and silver investing kit. You can roll over your retirement savings. You can get material like actual physical gold and silver. I happen to be a silver stacker myself. In these particular economic times, where we're not exactly sure what the next administration is going to be, by the way, it makes sense to make wise investments. A diversified portfolio is probably a good idea at this time if you happen to be actually investing at all. I realize that some people under Bidenomics can barely invest in a fucking hamburger at this point. I'm proud to work with Goldco. They were really understanding towards my, dichotomous situation, cross-Atlantic. Very knowledgeable, nice people, actually, very kind, which is good. They've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. That's important. You don't want to invest with somebody who has like a B- probably from the Better Business Bureau. That might not be the greatest idea in the world. Again, stickslikesmetals.com, and it'll take you to Goldco, and you can get your free investing kit. It's free. There's no strings attached, so you can look at your options. Again, you can do the actual investment thing, or you can invest in physical precious metals, gold and silver, both available now. As you know that I'm more of a silver man. By the way, my silver has shipped, so I'm really, really glad about that, because hopefully next week I'll be able to show it off. I kind of can't wait about that because silver is great. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills. I take them every single day. Again, yeah, I'm not going to honk anything that I don't use myself. I use them every single morning. I think this morning I took the Brain 2. Then tomorrow I'll take the Radiant Energy. I'm not sure which one I like more than the other. They both work really well. They both seem to have basically the same effect. It boosts my energy. This is just an anecdote, disclaimer. Pumpkinfirecrafts.us, where you can get bookmarks, keychains, belt chains, glassware, engraved spoons, and much, much more. That is pumpkinfirecrafts.us. By the way, use code STICKS on any of these sites when you're prompted to. Usually you can get a discount on them. That's the whole point. I really like the bookmarks. They're handmade. They're leather. And I'm a bibliophile. I've probably got, 5,000 books or something like that. I got a small library in this house. I mean, the office, the side is full, and half of the bedroom is full of books. And I just can't help myself. BillTongUSA.com or AntonsUSA.com, where you can get delicious meat from Anton in Roanoke, Texas. Yes, indeed. Also, Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts available as well. I personally recommend the Cabanassi and the Bison more than anything else. It's all good. I've never had something from Anton's that I didn't like. But those two really stand out. Nice shredded bison meat. Yeah, that's good probably for camping. And the cabanassi, you get the links of it, and then you go out gardening and you just gnaw on it. It's pretty fun, actually. It's a hedonistic existence. Wicked Needle Embroidery.bigcartel.com. The land of sticks, hex, and hammer has several colors available and also several models available. Again, you've got the one that has the larger Ouroboros logo. It's offset. And then there's the smaller one with sticks, hex, and hammer 666 below it. Heritage Heirloom Seed Company.com. Land of the seed survival bucket and sticks, hex, and hammer soap, which is made with clove, cedar, and blueberry. A new soap is in now. The prototype soap has been delivered to me. By the way, Heritage Heirloom, I did get that. I thank you very much because I've got like a year's supply of soap now, or at least most of a year's supply. Sent me 4 bricks of the original sticks, hex, and hammer soap, plus the prototype and a bunch of others. So, I mean, it's a shit ton of soap. I'll be testing that out later and seeing how it smells. I want to lather it up and see how it actually physically smells. And then I'll get back to you. I know that you requested my input. The smell, though, is a 10 out of 10. I would say that that's a hit. Just let me wash myself with it later, and then I'll give more advice. We've got websterswares.com/sticks-wares, where you can get metal straws, lots and lots of fucking knives, and much, much more. We've got sticks, hex, and hammer jackets and everything else. You can go to their main site, too. They got a bunch of Trump merch. They've got a bunch of miscellanea. It's a really great site, actually, when you think about it. They have fire starting kits and everything else under the sun. It's pretty great. And finally, jamandbean.com, JAMNbean.com, the land of sticks, hex, and hammer endorsed coffee. And boy, oh boy, is it good. Right now, the Costa Rica blend is definitely the best that you can get off their site. I recommend getting a bag or two. But there's another blend that's forthcoming that's at least tied with it, if not better. And we're sort of banding around with what to call it. It's going to be Clank related, though. Maybe Clanker caffeine or something like that. Clank coffee. Sort of, it strikes a note. It's really smooth, by the way. Oh my God, was it good. Yeah, it didn't last very long. Let's put it that way. Speaking of coffee, Coffee Slayer, Hail Satan, and Clank On. Goodness. A96 Etch. Hey, Sticks, my wife wants to start a garden and was hoping for some advice, especially on tomatoes. We live in East Texas near a bayou, if that helps. Oh, that should be a good place to grow tomatoes. Just grow some cherry tomatoes. You're going to have to put them in cages. Start them indoors a little bit early. The growing season's a little bit different down there, but you could probably start them outdoors to begin with. Just put a mound of compost in. The soil down there tends to get kind of clay-like and compacted. And then put the seedling in it, and basically the rest is history. Put a cage around it. You probably have to worry more about feral hogs than anything as far as garden pests. TMSSGG sent $2. No comment. Thank you very much. There's a shit ton of fucking comments here. Aquafan. I'm not sure how to vote on Florida Amendment 3. On one hand, I think adults should be allowed to use weed. On the other hand, I don't want it regulated. What would you do? I would vote no, because no, it shouldn't be regulated in any way. Webster's Wares. Good morning, Clankers. Free shipping using code STICKS at websterswares.com. Free shipping on orders over $40. Use code CLANKER2024 for 15% off. New Trump and Sticks items available. Beanies in soon. Oh, yeah, there's beanies, too. It's an ode to Tim Pool, actually. Next time I go on his show, I'm going to wear the Sticks, Hex, and Hammer beanie. Trust me. We'll trade beanies. I'm going to take Tim's iconic beanie. I'm going to steal it and give him a Sticks one. Aquafan, disclaimer, I personally do not use any drugs, weed or otherwise. I do not drink alcohol, and I do not smoke. I just support the rights of other adults to do so. Yeah, that's one heck of a disclaimer. Yeah, no, yeah, people should be able to do whatever the fuck they want. Webster's Wares. Open up a shipping portal for the UK, Poland, and Germany, not paying the VAT tax for imports. Apologies. Sir Thomas Drake. TFIF. Have a happy weekend, everyone. Barbecue and taco party at my place in Seattle tomorrow. Clankers, welcome. Sounds good. Cultivated Mind. My wife and I want to thank all the Clankers for your support. The feedback has been amazing. We will be making a new product for the coming winter cold and flu season soon. Clank on cultivatedmind.com. Yeah, I took my mushroom pills this morning. Yeah, I don't know which one I like more, though. Wasted Bonehead. So if Robert Kennedy endorses Kamala, does this even the race? Yes, it would, actually. Does she get an advantage temporarily? Who would you predict to win in that scenario? It would reduce Trump's chance of winning if RFK Jr. drops and endorses Kamala, yeah. If he drops and endorses Donald Trump, it massively increases his odds of winning. Sigil Stone. Letting everyone know that the Clanker Goon Sesh on the Discord starts after the stream. If you need an invite, then DM me, Sticks, on Twitter with your dick pics to check if you meet girth requirements. Goodness. Some crazy shit. All right, let's get to the next news story. Waving goodbye to the neoliberal Democratic Party. This is something that's been a long time coming. The Democrats are slowly becoming a communist party. Just as the Republicans have shifted towards being a more populistic party. They've got more elements of populism and libertarianism than they did 20 years ago. The Democrats have absorbed the far left, although they're having some trouble controlling them at the moment and are becoming more communistic. This is why Kamala has moved to the left. What her staffers, etc., what her advisors have told her is, for several decades, the Democratic Party had been the repository of left-wing sentiment, but it's being hemorrhaged at the moment. You need to move to the left in order to absorb them. The problem for Kamala, of course, is that if they do that, then they begin hemorrhaging left-wing independent voters. Those people will be turned off by the platform. It's a party that doesn't quite know what the fuck it's doing, in other words. And this is another reason why I favor Trump to win, because the Democrats can't get their fucking shit together. You had a momentary grace period where Kamala was riding high. That has ended already. I analyzed that this morning. Trump and Kamala are now even in the betting odds for a reason. The polling is seeping in the other direction. You've got a debate in which Kamala is probably not going to be able to prevail. I can't imagine that Kamala Harris is going to beat Trump in a debate. Let's put it that way. That's assuming that there is a debate. We're not 100% sure. She could say, well, I've got COVID or something like that. I can't attend. They already skipped out on the Fox debate for not without good reason. I think that the neoliberal Democratic Party is beginning to wither and die. This is not a bad thing, by the way. This is actually a good thing. I want two political parties to choose from and to be able to choose the candidates and the issues on their own merits. Right now, I can't choose the Democratic Party because they're all fucked up. If the Democratic Party swings far to the left, gets crushed, and then crashes and burns, the hope is that you're going to get like a party of JFK sort of thing going. It's hilarious since there's a Kennedy in the race at the moment, at least for the next couple of hours. The hope is that the Democratic Party gets its shit together and reforms. I am not a Republican. I am not a conservative. I'm not an evangelical. You may have noticed this by my username. I would like two parties to choose from instead of having effectively, for my purposes, a uniparty system in which there's only one party that can possibly represent reality to me. I would like a Democratic Party that is functional, that is sane, etc. If you go insane, so far to the left, which is where Kamala's taking it, you'll probably crash and burn. Then maybe the party rises up like a phoenix. It becomes votable again. Right now, it's not. There will come a time, I assure you, assuming I live long enough, that I will vote for a Democrat again for the presidency. Now is not that time. Your current candidate is a psychopath. The VP is completely and totally unqualified. The down ballot is like, what the hell? Did I have a stroke recently? The Democratic Party is a hot mess. The hope is that with the death of the neoliberals and the embracing of the far left, the party crashes and burns, and then you get like a reformist movement within the party where someone says, we can't do the communistic thing. People aren't going to buy it. We can't do that. We've got to leave the ITPOL, the DEI, that bullshit behind, and have like a union Dem party or something like that. That would be more palatable. That would make a lot more sense. Or they could stick with the far left. They could go after the youth vote and the ITPOL vote, and they can hemorrhage everything else, because that's what's happening. So the neoliberals, I agree with the article. The neoliberals are basically dead in the water at this point. Let's see. Keshtmalia. Texas, Pennsylvania, and Missouri have registration numbers. Tens of thousands of attempts without an ID every week. Thousands don't match. Thoughts? Yeah, they're trying to game the election. They're going to be unsuccessful in so doing, I think. Mr. Fish Pirate. Clank. Biden in 20 was good. In 24, we would have ended up with Pence's GOP candidate. Then right back to D.C. business as usual. Got to see U.S. under Dems. Vance much more likely to continue with MAGA. I don't think that Vance is necessarily going to become the heir apparent, actually, based on analysis of him. Nominal topic. Hey, Sticks, would love to hear my latest music video on my channel, Red Market. Clank, kind sir. You get a shout out there. Nominal topic, Red Market. D7 Origin. Did you hear that a U.S. federal court judge tossed out a machine gun possession case and called the ban unconstitutional? Yes, setting a potential precedent, but don't get ahead of yourselves. The likelihood of the Supreme Court taking up an appeal on the case is very, very low. The federal government is much more likely to simply stand down and say, okay, this is a bridge too far. We don't want to lose the NFA. You have to actually have a proper legal challenge and standing in order for it to get to that higher level. Opinionated junkie. Harris could pack the court. Yeah, I mean, she's literally dangerous. She's a fucking psychopath. It's not like Biden. Biden was once normal, like you or I or any other person. Kamala was never normal. She was always a psycho. BW, if Dems become commies for real, will any moderate liberals come to the Republicans, like the Maher types and Manchin types? Maybe the latter. Let's see. Re24, RFK dropping and endorsing Harris would make him look like punk AB. Punk ass bitch. True. Cultivated Mind. Oh, by the way, I will be teaching a class on Korean natural farming in Athens, Texas at the Texan Permaculture Expo on November 9th. You can follow me for more details here. And he has his link tree there. Open source farmer. Oh, interesting. I wish I could attend. Maybe I will. Sigilstone. Well, since you said it's required, I DM'd you my dick pics. Not sure why you made that necessary, though. Ah, shit. Probably pictures of Richard Nixon or something like that. Lightning stab. Why spend money on a demoralization campaign? Would that not encourage Republican turnout and vote while having Democrats possibly sit it out as they believe that Kamala is going to win anyway? You got to keep it close. You got to keep it on edge. Wasted. Sticks, don't join Shitstone Discord. Join mine instead. There's no restraints on dick size because my Discord ain't gay. Sigil, damn skeleton has no brain. Sticks clearly said he wants to inspect for girth, and obviously a pinky bone ain't gonna make the cut. Oh my god. F. Winters Lodig, there is a crack in MAGA. Candace Owens and Andrew Tate said Trump made a deal with the deep state after Elon's live stream. I think because Trump is pro-Israel and Tate is pro-Gaza, agree on everything else. Why am I getting a potential spam call? Let's see who this is. Hello. Hello?
Like always, the support will go to representing the needs of law enforcement officers, whether that be for better equipment or staff or fair wage.
Bye. Yes, let me donate to the scam organization. I would consider donating to the local police, like a beneficent society or something like that, but I ain't, no, thank you. Wasted Bonehead, no one wants to join your scat fetish Discord. And Sigil, it is not a fetish, it is connoisseurship. Emperor Soft Turtle, many news stories. Waltz jerks his son around like a sack of potatoes. More importantly, AK is removing ranked choice voting on the ballot. They will fail in that endeavor, by the way. Yeah, no, I saw Walls. He has a son who I guess is like developmentally disabled. Like, I don't know exactly what's wrong with him. And he was literally yanking him across the stage. And it was like, come on, dude, ease up. What the fuck? Didn't make any sense. Lord of the Ree. Sent Wednesday, but Jeremy missed it. If I live in a safe red state, Missouri, unless there's no such thing, or Montana, where should I focus my efforts to overcome any fortification? I want to help, but not waste time. If it's a safe red state, then become an activist in another state if you can, or online. That's perfectly fine. F Winters the loading. There's a crack in MAGA. Wait, I already read that out. Did I jump to the top here? Oh no, you sent it twice. Sigil Stone, you should have answered Moshi Moshi Abortion Clinic. Sebastian Lee, the image on the Shroud of Turin isn't real. It's a result of dehydration via a burst of sudden quick radiation. The fibers were hyper-aged somehow. It's possible. We're not 100% sure, just to be clear. Stephen M., who is the most evil person who has ever run for U.S. president and failed? Someone whose presidency would have done irreversible damage. Herbert Walker's re-election bid, I would say. Mitt Romney would be a close second. Nick Santini, just sent it to you in DMs on Twitter. You don't have to have a Dropbox account to view the audio file. It was either that or Google Drive. Jason Lane, what do you think of the reporting Tim Pool has done about the Dems stealing Texas 40 electoral votes? There's an investigation by the AG, I think. I don't think that they're going to win Texas. Tommy Boy Foley, hey, Sticks, go fuck yourself. I do it regularly. What can I say? Everyone does. Everyone's a hypocrite if they claim otherwise. Biggest diamond in over a century found in Botswana, a whopping 2,492 carats. Yeah, this diamond is as big as your fucking fist. This is going to be one for the ages once it's cut. Apparently, it's high quality. The Botswana government says the huge diamond is the second biggest ever discovered in a mine. It's the biggest diamond found since 1905. The as yet unnamed diamond was presented to the world at the office of Botswana President, this I'll definitely mispronounce, Magwitsi Masisi. My apologies. Botswana is pretty cool, actually. There's a lot of blood diamonds and stuff like that going on there, but yeah, whatever. It weighs approximately 0.5 kilogram, and Masisi was one of the first to get a hold of it. It is overwhelming, Masisi said. I am lucky to have seen it in my time. He gasped and said, wow, before calling senior government officials over to take a closer look. Yeah, another smaller diamond from the same mine in Botswana was sold for $63 million in 2016, a record for a rough gem. Yeah, you sell this to the Swiss, my God, you're going to make so much fucking money. Probably be the whole fucking GDP of the fucking country. And the thing is that diamonds technically aren't actually that rare. It's just that the accessible ones happen to be fairly uncommon, close enough to the surface of the earth to actually extract. That's one hell of a diamond. I mean, it's literally this big. Once they cut it, can you imagine? What they should do is they should try to sell it to Elon Musk. Just like say, hey, what kind of facets do you want on this? Maybe you want it raw. And give it to him. Yeah. I mean, think about it. A diamond is literally nothing more than compressed carbon. It happens to look pretty. Diamonds, by the way, interesting history. I love talking about this sort of shit. Interesting history that most people that aren't geologically inclined wouldn't know about. Diamonds originally were not considered particularly valuable. Back in the day, they didn't have faceted cuts. You know how you cut a gem and you make multiple surfaces in it, and so it sort of sparkles. They didn't have that back, before not that many 100 years ago. What they had was called a cabochon. And a cabochon is just polished. usually rounded off, or ovular, or spherical, or something like that. And so you would want things like garnets, you would want lapis lazuli. The semi-precious gems that we identify today, in some cases, were more valuable than some of the precious gems that we have today, because they didn't have a faceted cut. It hadn't been invented yet. The idea of making it multifaceted didn't exist. They didn't have the technology and hadn't discovered the possibility of doing so. Diamonds at the time were not considered particularly valuable. It's like, oh, it looks like quartz, basically, once it's polished off. And of course, it's going to take a lot of effort to polish it because it's a very hard gemstone. Now, they preferred things like sapphires, rubies, emeralds. Those were very valuable. Lapis, garnet, quartz, things of that nature, especially if I remember, tourmaline to an extent, things of that nature. Beryl. Beryl, by the way, one of my favorite gems. They had what was called the cabochon. They didn't have the multifaceted gem cut, so the diamond was basically worthless. It was basically worth the same amount as quartz. This diamond would have been worth, like, a couple loaves of bread back in the medieval era. Isn't that hilarious? Sir Thomas Drake, Google Botswana metal rock and roll fashion. Shit, Botswana has metal bands? Let's see. I probably won't be able to listen to whatever this is on a live stream. The Hellbangers of Botswana's underground metal scene. That's what I'm talking about. Desert-defying style of leather. What the fuck? I thank you for that. I'm keeping that tab open. Wasted. I contribute to Sigil contributing by flinging his poo at Antifa thugs. Sigil. I contribute to the Trump war effort by pouring concrete on top of graves and welding tomb doors shut. Goodness. This has been an ongoing civil war on the channel for what now? A year? Thereabouts? Bara, did you say that Trump will lose Texas? Oh boy. No. I think that he will win Texas. Postcard sent over a century ago, finally delivered to building in Wales. The Building Society believes the postcard may have gotten lost in some building and then found during renovation work. It's according to TASS in London. The Building Society of the City of Swansea in Wales has received a postcard that was sent 121 years ago, Sky News reported. According to the channel, the postcard was sent to someone named Lydia Davies in August 1903. The postage stamp depicts King Edward VII of the United Kingdom. The Swansea Building Society, a bank that finances construction, was established only 100 years ago, so the channel believes their office building was a residence in the past. Isn't this amazing? Community spokesman Henry Darby called the incident a little bit spooky. According to him, the institution has been contacted by a woman who is presumably the grandniece of the addressee, but the fate of the postcard has not yet been decided. It's come back into ownership. We want to make sure it gets to the right place, be it a local archive or, if possible, Lydia's surviving family, Darby told the TV channel. The Building Society believes the postcard may have gotten lost in some building, then found during renovation work. Only in Britain would they put such an importance on delivering the mail that they're like, it's 120 years, it's just a drop in the bucket. It's perfectly fine. Jesus. Only in Britain. This is definitely the old do-good British sentiment. It's not modern Britain, Stan, that we're talking about when you deliver a 120-year-old postcard. It's more like George Harrison's grandfather or something like that. F-Winters loading. I sent chat twice, but the first time you received a call from the sheriff's office. I did? The question was on Trump's deal with the deep state conspiracy by Andrew Tate and Candace Owens. Oh, I think that that's bullshit. And no, that wasn't from the sheriff's office. It's a spam call. They've called me repeatedly. It's like, it starts off, it says, hello. And then, of course, you say, well, hello. And then it goes to the recording. It's not the actual sheriff's office. If I want to donate to them, I'll do it directly. Yeah. Head of broccoli. Tourmaline, like sapphire and garnet, comes in a nice variety of colors. Yeah, garnets can be green, actually. I used to have a big chunk of green garnet. In fact, it might still be in the shelf in the dining room. And I thought it was great. I didn't know that green garnets existed. You can find them all over Vermont. They're extremely common. Did you know, another geological fact, back in the old days, right? People used to actually make musket balls from garnets. They would take the larger garnets and they would polish them off into spheres and then they would fire them. The idea was that they would do more damage because they were red like blood. Little known fact. Hell Radio lives. Any thoughts on whether Biden is no longer around? He's still there. They're just hiding him, basically, at this point. The Emperor's Champion. Ukraine's counter-invasion indicates to me that Ukraine thinks Trump will win. They want bargaining chips when Trump is conducting negotiations. Yeah, I think that you might be right on that one, yeah. They're like, shit, if we take some land, then we can, trade it off against what Russia has taken. Because finally there will be somebody in there that can conduct diplomacy. But yeah, it's fascinating, the history of geology. I've got a bunch of gemstones and stuff. I like relgar, actually. I used to have a bunch of it. It's an arsenoid mineral, actually. So it's poisonous. You should not lick it. What's the other one? It's called vanadinite. Oh, vanadinite has beautiful crystals. It's literally like it'll usually be on a white substrate, and it's covered in like an encrustation of red crystals that are sort of flaky. Also, I believe that one's lead-based, if I remember correctly. Vanadinite. Any fellow geology lover? Is it lead or arsenoid? I can't remember. I used to have an encyclopedic knowledge of basically every goddamn crystal known to man. I was studying those Grolier cards as a kid. I was obsessed with the topic, collecting fossils and crystals and everything else under the sun. I had a huge collection. Too bad it's lost. Now I have to make another one. Shit. Mulgera, Fleshguard Apocalypse just released an album today. They're awesome. They are an Italian symphonic death metal band. Highly recommended. They even got an opera singer. So it's like Pissy from Intestinal Disgorge. Wasted Bonehead. Sigil is probably some hobo in San Francisco who hates undead people. So instead of pooing on the street, he poos on graves. Lemon Curd Zero. Sticks, I know your shirt belongs in my closet. This one belongs in mine, but you can get your own. Wasted Bonehead. Sorry, there aren't metal. If I can offend them by snapping spaghetti in half before I boil it. Don't do that. No, what you do is you take the handful of spaghetti and you sort of give it a whirl, and then you push it down in so that it cooks evenly. No, do not snap the goddamn spaghetti. Come on. I agree with the Italians on this one. Snapping the spaghetti is a no-getty. The Sumerian. Sticks, do you think the doorways to other worlds can exist? I don't know, maybe. Never been through one, but I guess it's possible. I mean, I'm literally going to be looking up Botswana and black metal later. My life is totally normal. I'm a normal individual. I'm rational and sane. By the way, this is from the Miami Herald. This is a Floridian newspaper. Rare creature seen for first time since 2018, Vermont officials say. That's no bobcat. Yes, a Canadian lynx was spotted actually on August 17th in the state of Vermont. Now, interesting story. My girlfriend actually had seen a lynx. It was trotting along beside her, slightly behind, presumptively in a predatory fashion. And then she had turned around and she saw it and was like startled, and then it ran off, scampered into the woods. I assure you that there are more than lynxes in the state of Vermont. The lynx is here, although it's more sporadic. It's going to be more seasonal and stuff like that. There aren't many of them. More or less, you get bobcats. Occasionally, they're not particularly common either. And sometimes they interbreed. Lynx bobcat hybrids do actually exist. Again, I don't think that it's common because I think their particular mating habits are different, but that can happen. Wonder if a catamount could fuck a lynx, or if a lynx could fuck a catamount. Maybe they'd have viable offspring. I don't know. I have no fucking clue. Now, you've got all sorts of weird hybrids in nature. Just look at the mule. But I would like to point out that there are all sorts of other creatures in the state of Vermont. most of which are not particularly common, but would scare the tourists, and so they don't admit that they even exist in the state. For example, the Department of Tourism doesn't really like to talk that much about bears, unless it's to put out a circular to citizens about not feeding them. Hey, you might want to get your trash inside. There was a bear on the property only a few years ago. Right before I went to Europe, there was a juvenile bear climbing one of the trees on the property. It's probably 400 fucking pounds by now. I believe it was a male, by the way. I had thought about shooting at it, not actually trying to hit it or anything like that, but just scaring it off because you want them to be afraid of humans. What you don't want is for them to get too cozy around humans. It's just like when people are feeding raccoons in New York City. That's a terrible idea, dude. They're going to start, if they get rabies and they come up to people and bite them and shit like that, people will find them cute. Or they'll just become little destroyers. Sort of like those monkeys over in, Thailand or India, one of those countries. And they've begun raiding shops and shit like that. And that's not what you want. You want animals and humans generally to be afraid of one another because that makes for better decision making. We've got mooses in the state. That's the most dangerous animal, by the way. I think there's only been one fatal bear attack in Vermont in the last 100 years. I think it was in 74 or something. In fact, I'm not even sure that it was a wild bear. If I remember correctly, there was a captive bear. It was like a circus bear. And some little girl went up to go see the bear and got, mauled, basically, if I remember correctly. I like to look up interesting history, like the history of bear attacks in the United States. There aren't actually that many of them. Bears and wolves and stuff like that typically aren't that dangerous, actually. They tend to be avoidant. I can also assure you that there are catamounts in the state. I've seen one myself. Yes, there are mountain lions in Vermont. They're probably transitory. There aren't many of them, but they do sporadically exist. I remember one time, it was 2013 or 2012, somewhere around there. It was definitely the Obama era. I remember that there was one story where a person on the western edge of this county, out west of Rutland, said that he saw Bigfoot, but it was an albino Bigfoot. It was like a white Bigfoot. Now, it might have been a person that sued, or this might have been just to troll the local media. I do not believe that Bigfoot resides in the state of Vermont. But there are lynxes, and there are definitely catamounts and bobcats and shit like that. Tigers are my totem. Send $50. No comment. Thank you extremely. Ellen Tenay's. The only gangster cred Kamal has is she probably has been gangbanged. I have to edit these. Yeah, no, she probably has. That's probably not even a joke. That's the horrendous part. I mean, I don't slut shame people or anything like that because, I've done some weird shit in my time. But, when you're running for the presidency, it's a little bit different. The Loftus. Thanks, Sticks. My 10-year-old loves the elfin ship. Yes, good, excellent. Tell them they've got excellent taste. Not sure if son or daughter, so I won't use any pronouns. Yeah, the elfin ship is fucking great. I think I've read that like, I don't know, 100 times or thereabouts. Probably close to it. I mean, there have been times when I've read it, and then when I get done, I just read it again. BW. You see that story of the bear that was so fat she couldn't hibernate? It was in some news station a while back. Can't remember where. No, I didn't, but that sounds hilarious. Too fat to hibernate. Oh my God, I ate too much. I've got to stay awake for the next 2 months. By the way, everyone, please send no more super chats, or only just a few of them, maybe. I'm trying to, let's see. Sigilstone, how dare that skella bastard for accusing me of living in California and snapping spaghetti. Total undead death. Yes, you must never snap the spaghetti. The Italians are 100% correct about this. The proper etiquette is you take the spaghetti in both hands and you give it a whirl, and it'll whirl around the pot, and then it'll slowly sink in as the bottom begins cooking, and then the rest is history. That's the way to do it. You can give it a little bit of flair. I mean, you can just fucking toss it in, but, giving it a whirl is going to impress people more, Mulgera, if you snap the spaghetti, I'll snap your back. Lol. Sigilstone, snap the sketty and I snap your spiny. Mulgera, WAP rage is a real thing. We will gesticulate you to death. Scribbity bibbity Mario. Wasted bonehead. I'm going to snap spaghetti twice as hard now. Imagine that they're really crazy and they don't just snap it in half, then they snap into quarters because they're just completely insane. Re-24, Mom's spaghetti. It's ready. Snap back the spaghetti. Pow. I love the Mom's spaghetti version of the Eminem song. They did one where the whole thing is literally just Mom's spaghetti. I don't know if that's what you're referring to or if you've seen it, but it's it's hilarious. Something to watch while high. Sigil Stone, snap his bones, boil them for soup, eat the soup, then shit on the bones. Bystander syndrome. We need a log political party. The objective is to have logs going down enough persons for mouth. Lol. Yes, Andy Six is the presidential candidate. Mulgera. That reads like Cannibal Corpse lyrics. Sigil. I like it. Wasted. Sigil Stone is clearly ashamed of living in San Francisco. Sigil, you can leave. Nothing keeps you in California but your depraved shit fetish. You see a lot of moose in Vermont. They're the scariest. How about wolves? There are no wolves in Vermont, though they've talked for decades about reintroducing them. They were hunted to extinction here. I personally support reintroducing them. I think it's part of the natural ecosystem. I've only once seen a moose. And this is another funny story. I was in elementary school. I think I was in the 4th or 5th grade. I'm on the playground, of course. This was back when Woodstock Elementary School had a decent playground. Unfortunately, they've removed basically everything, and now there's like a dirt trench in the middle for some reason. I don't know. They've completely redesigned it. The playground that I remember is completely gone, unfortunately. I used to throw those little pea stones at the girls and stuff like that, or hand them worms. That was always very fun. But a moose came up the fucking road and ran through the fucking playground. Now, I had the sense not to approach it. I had the sense to stand back and sort of stand down because moose are dangerous. The teachers berated the goddamn students because a good 3/4 of them tried to chase the goddamn moose. I'm like, that's a terrible idea. What the fuck are you doing? You're going to get trampled or something like that. It was a female moose, not a male. It didn't act in an aggressive fashion. It went right up behind the school, and it went right up the hill towards the antique shop and places like that. And the students were literally like chasing it down. And it's like, you're like a pack of wolves. Yeah, probably collectively you could probably take the moose down, but half of you would probably die in the endeavor or get grievously injured. They're literally chasing this, 500, whatever it is, pound animal. I knew better at the time. I didn't get a stern talking to. And I was the hellion. Holy shit. Sigil, Bonehead says I live in San Francisco. I shit on Bonehead's grave. Did Bonehead just admit to living in San Francisco? I guess. Bretling, 500 pounds? Ha ha ha. Well, I don't know exactly how much a moose weighs. Okay, maybe 1,000 pounds. Something like that. It was bigger than a horse. And here are these 10-year-olds trying to chase down this particular animal. I bet they wouldn't have done it if it was a bear running through. And keep in mind, the schools in Vermont tend to be pretty good. So, generally speaking, these are fairly intelligent people. Can only imagine. Wasted. Snapping spaghetti into quarters? What kind of monster do you think I am? Also, Sigil uses high-velocity drones and catapults. This is established canon. Also, I don't live anywhere. I'm undead. Yeah, to Cam, I don't know how much a moose weighs. I don't know, 1,000 pounds, 1,500, something like that. It was fully grown, and it literally trotted through. It was clearly scared. I mean, it comes up the road out of a suburban neighborhood and randomly runs through the schoolyard. It was pretty funny. Sigil Stone, established canon, established shit canon. Oh, God. Joe, yo, are you into mycology? Pretty fun little hobby. Oh, hell yes. Yeah, I wanted to major in it, but I realized that there were only 3 or 4 schools in the whole United States that offer mycology as a major. It was unfortunate. I do a lot of amateur mycology, though. I know a very great deal about mushrooms. Back when I was a kid, I guess I'm getting nostalgic here. Please send no more super chats, by the way. We're running up on an hour. Back when I was a kid, I spent the summers mainly hiking around in the woods documenting mushrooms. I had a whole sketchbook, actually, where I used colored pencils to draw them. Didn't have the money for a camera to take pictures of them at the time, of course. Now I do. Yes, study of mushrooms. That's mycology. I know all of the local edible species, the poisonous species, and so forth. A little bit of everything about them. Also how to cook them, and they're delicious. Bystander syndrome. Sticks, did you see that Freedom Tunes video about Biden's swan song? It was sad and hilarious. I felt bad at first. Then I remembered everyone he's hurt. Then I thought, no mercy. Yeah, no, I have a little bit of mercy for him. A little bit of sympathy. But only a little bit. He knew what he was getting into when he decided to run for office. He knew that he wasn't mentally fit. Jake Downey, SCOTUS uphold Arizona law requiring citizenship to vote. Yeah, I saw that. That's a great news, by the way. Reported on it this morning. F. Winters loading. If Trump was riding a moose, he could win the state of Vermont. Yeah, he couldn't win the state of Vermont if he won the local maple syrup chugging contest, which, by the way, I could probably win, but I don't really like sweets. A little bit of maple goes a long way. Watch Super Troopers. It's about the Vermont State Police. Originally, they panned it, said it was disrespectful. Then years later, they're like, actually, the movie's pretty fucking funny. And then they endorsed it because it brought tourism to the state of Vermont. Super Troopers. Also, Blue Velvet for Pabst Blue Ribbon. Heineken, fuck that shit. Pabst Blue Ribbon. I will never forget that line. Oh my God, it was fucking funny. Chase Rubin, I got to run Power and Light the Trump rally in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. So much energy. Have you ever hiked Mount Washington? Trump 24. No, I've never been on Mount Washington, actually. Which is funny because, I mean, I live right across the river from New Hampshire and I was literally born in the state. No, I've never been on the Mount Washington that I know of. Maybe when I was a little kid, maybe my parents hiked up there with me when I was like, a toddler. I don't know. I don't think so, though. What I like is Mount Tom in Woodstock. That's my favorite mountain. Ramucom sent $5 and said 5. Thank you very much. All right, anyways, I'm going offline. Keep in mind, I'll be live with the quartering at 1 p.m. Or I assume that I'm going to be so. And then I conk out for the weekend, basically. No live streams on the weekend. I've been here long enough. I've done my job. I'm allowed to have a little bit of time off. Siddlestone. Hey, Sticks, what's the restaurant you like with the goofy shit on the walls and mozzarella sticks? I don't even know what you're referring to. Goofy stuff on the walls and mozzarella sticks. I don't know. Not 100% sure. Holiday Statistics says my son lives in Woodstock, Vermont. Yeah, I was raised there, actually, as a little kid. Trust me, in the 90s, even if you were poor, which my family was, it was a nice place to grow up. Unfortunately, the pharmacy is gone. They used to have downstairs with all Legos and Playmobiles and shit like that, and science toys, and they had those old die-cast cars, all that good shit from the 90s that we had before the internet. Oh, Sigil, God damn it. You managed to troll me. Yes, shenanigans. Fuck. Shenanigans. God damn it, Sigil. Josh Love, vacation in Cape Cod, spotted several Trump Pence signs, repurposed with Sharpie, changing the PE to a VA. Amusing. Joe, I like your pedo moose story. Yeah, no, it was just running away from the kids, actually. God damn it, Sigil. And now everyone is celebrating it. Shit. Twig a little shit. The fuck. Yeah, no, I got shenaniganed, unfortunately. Watch the drunken scene from Super Troopers at the very least, where the police chief, I won't give spoilers away, but there's a drunk scene in there. The next person to say that gets pistol whipped. Maybe I'll watch that again later. There's a lot on the docket. Blue Velvet, rewatching Super Troopers, finishing up Hannibal, actually. What was the other movie? Finishing up Cheech and Chong Still Smoking, because that's a really great stoner comedy. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Jesus. I literally got shenaniganed, and I'm a Vermonter, so now I'm ritualistically humiliated. Anyways, I'm going to go offline. I've got to go live with the quartering in half an hour, and then at some point eat and do all of this other shit. Jesus Christ. That's about all. Peace out.